Imagine you're a police officer standing in the cold morning air, deep in the woods, staring at a vehicle that shouldn't be there. The engine is silent. The doors are closed. No sign of the driver. Just emptiness. But here's the terrifying part. In less than 10 minutes, that exact moment, that abandoned car, will lead officers to one of the most horrifying discoveries of their entire careers. Because somewhere nearby, a mother is already dead. And what starts as a missing person case will soon unravel into something far darker. A trail of manipulation, violence, and a man who had been hiding in plain sight for years. It began with a simple phone call. A worried friend dialing 911, her voice shaking with uncertainty. "My best friend is missing." At first, nothing seemed unusual. Adults disappear sometimes. Phones die. Plans change. But there were details that didn't sit right. Crystal had texted her daughter the night before, saying she might go out with a man named Matt. She told her not to mention it to her ex-boyfriend because he was crazy. Then the next morning, Crystal texted her boss, saying she was on her way to work. She never arrived. Her van was gone. Her phone went silent. And just like that, she vanished. When deputies arrived to take the report, they were immediately struck by the combination of factors. A missing vehicle, an abusive ex, and a mysterious man no one really knew. It was the kind of situation that could spiral in any direction. So officers split up. One deputy went to Crystal's house. Another contacted her daughter for more information about the man she was meeting, Matt Thomas. But when investigators finally reached the real Matt Thomas, the case took its first disturbing turn. He said he hadn't spoken to Crystal. In fact, he hadn't even lived in the area for years. Someone had been impersonating him. That realization changed everything. Detectives quickly requested login records from the social media account Crystal had been messaging. The IP addresses told a chilling story. Every login came from the same small Virginia town where Crystal lived. Whoever she was talking to was local. And then came the phone data. Crystal's last known location pinged on a rural road, just 3 miles from the home of her ex-boyfriend, James. That was enough for detectives to pay him a visit. When they arrived at his house late that night, James appeared calm, maybe too calm. He spoke casually, even invited them inside to search. He claimed he hadn't seen Crystal in days, then corrected himself, maybe yesterday. His timeline shifted in small, subtle ways that didn't quite add up, but there was no body, no obvious evidence. So detectives left, frustrated but watchful. What they didn't know was that they were already incredibly close to the truth, only about a mile away. The next morning, around 5 a.m., a patrol officer responded to a call about an abandoned car found deep in the woods. At first glance, it looked routine. Stolen vehicles get dumped in remote areas all the time. But when the officer ran the license plate, his stomach dropped. The car belonged to Crystal. Backup units rushed in. Officers spread out, scanning the forest for any sign of her. That's when they saw it, blood on the leaves, and drag marks across the ground. They followed the trail slowly, carefully, the silence around them almost suffocating. About 100 yards away, they came across a small mound covered in leaves. A rock sat on top. A couple of flowers had been placed there, almost like someone had tried to create a grave. One officer whispered what everyone was thinking. "I think we found her." When the forensic team uncovered the body, the worst fears were confirmed. Crystal showed signs of early decomposition. The cause of death was brutally clear: blunt force trauma and strangulation. This was no longer a missing person case. It was murder. As investigators processed the scene, a man arrived claiming to own the property. He was concerned, confused, asking questions. What detectives didn't realize at that moment was that this man was connected to their prime suspect. He was James's stepfather. That connection would soon matter more than anyone expected. Breaking the news to Crystal's family was devastating. Her daughter, barely holding herself together, described years of abuse at the hands of James. Beatings that sent Crystal to the hospital. Teeth chipped, hair ripped out, threats that he would kill her and her family. He said he was going to put my mom 6 feet under. Those words now felt horrifyingly literal. By that point, investigators were preparing to arrest James. But before they could, He called them. At 5 a.m., his voice was different. Heavy, resigned. "Can we talk in person?" Detectives rushed to his house, already suspecting what was coming. James had learned that Crystal's body had been found. He knew the walls were closing in. When they arrived, he didn't resist. He didn't deny. He simply looked at them and said the words investigators hear far less often than people think. "I messed up." According to his confession, the two had argued. Emotions escalated. Violence followed. But as the investigation would later reveal, this wasn't just a sudden explosion of anger. There were layers of manipulation, control, and a pattern of behavior stretching back years. What initially looked like a tragic domestic homicide began to expose a much darker reality. One where abuse had gone unnoticed, warning signs were missed, and a dangerous individual had slipped through the cracks for decades. But perhaps the most haunting part of this entire story isn't the crime scene, or even the confession. It's the reminder of how vulnerable trust can make us. Crystal wasn't reckless. She wasn't careless. She was human. She trusted someone she thought she knew. And that trust cost her everything.